So I feel the need to get something off my chest. I talked about this on my stream the other day, but I think instead of posting a clip where I may come off as potentially rude, I'd rather just say my words carefully. So hi, my name is Cake. I've been in the VTuber scene since like 2020. For almost the entirety I've been a VTuber. It's been a hobby for the most part, but because I've been around for so long, I'm getting sick and tired of seeing developmentalities and habits that I feel the need to really speak my mind about. So this Vshojo audition situation, and by situation, I mean people making jokes about it or outright jabs at Vshojo for not hiring a random small indie. Listen, the first time they opened auditions, way back then, I also applied. Back when I was just some art VTuber with nothing really to offer, I've always been a small streamer. Most average I got was like 50 average for a short period of time. And I'm fine with that, because that's normal. That's like average. But with these auditions, man, some of y'all make it so obvious that you're bitter about it. And this isn't new for streamers in general. I know, I'm sure. But I genuinely just miss the 2020 VTuber days sometimes, when the fact that you can essentially become a cartoon character was such a big deal that people just liked that and was happy with just that. Not the numbers, at least from my point of view. But the honeymoon phase ended, and suddenly we all realized that we're on that grind. I truly feel like this is a huge element as to why people want to jump down Vshojo's throat about who they hire. And that's the key word. Hire. I feel like if you feel this way, you're Delulu. And I'm sorry, but like, I absolutely feel like you're Delulu. I completely understand the bitterness and frustration of feeling like a failure as a person. Because that's what happens when you feel like you don't perform well as a streamer. No matter what your numbers are, a lot of streamers still just don't like themselves enough because they put their success on this impossible pedestal that every time they get close to the top, it raises. It goes higher. It's never good enough. It seems like most streamers I've met through the years are either bitter or depressed about it to some degree. And I myself got that way too. Don't get me wrong. I wanted to try and grow for a little bit, but that completely burnt myself out where I just disappeared for like a year and a half. Which, yeah, I returned like just. And now this is happening. And I feel like I'm having deja vu. Because this happened before. This happened the first time, this stuff. This happens like every time I hire anybody. People say some shit like this. All this stuff that Zen is talking about in her tweet here. But I really hurt myself emotionally and mentally with these unrealistic expectations. Why are we forgetting that the world has like 8 billion plus people on it? And God knows how many VTubers? I hate that it seems like no matter what, most of us struggle with the false reality and expectation that isn't even real. It's not even real. It's in your head. Granted, people who insult your numbers aren't helping and are living trash. By the way, they're always anons. They never show their face or a real account. Kind of weird is that? How weird is that? Anyway. Please understand that Vshojo is a company. It's a business. No matter what, that's the end of the line here. No matter what, that's the end all be all. I'm sorry. I've had and seen so many people over the years, again and now, right now, who say the most delusional, bitter things about Vshojo not hiring some random small indie. Out of how many applications? Babe, you're asking to win the lottery. And I completely console you in your frustration of not feeling good enough. But holy shit, let me tell you, you're not remotely the first or remotely the last. I understand this mentality will probably never go away in its entirety. Unfortunately, it just is what it is. But I really want us to do better for ourselves, because I feel like it just seems like a problem in VTubing. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's just surrounded by the wrong people. I don't know. You know, for me to be driven off that hard for someone who kind of needs it, for me to hate that so badly, and I didn't even try that hard, and I tried really hard to have healthy expectations. I can't imagine how bad it is for people who are killing themselves to be quote-unquote successful. And that's why this concerns me. And it drives me nuts every time I see a fellow streamer clearly have this hanging on their shoulder and it affecting the way they are, the way they act, whatever. I could just tell, and it drives me crazy. All I can say is thinking this way is genuinely only hurting yourself. That is all it's doing. It is not helping you. And I'm sure most of y'all know this, but I'm telling you, if you don't fix it, you're gonna explode. It will come to a head. You are human, and you are not less because you have less viewers as a streamer. You are not less because you get less donos as a streamer. You are not less because you are less likely to get picked out of like literal thousands of applications that other VTubers in these same auditions. Shoot your shot if you want. If you feel like you want to, need to, whatever, you may as well. It's not even that hard. And you never know. You may have something that they like and maybe they will pick a small indie. But I don't want them to be like peer pressured to pick a small indie. That's just not the way. Stop having these expectations of a huge, giant agency to pick a random small indie just because you feel it's unfair. They're a business. If someone more profitable and safe, like say a friend of their members they already have, comes along, yeah, of course they're most likely gonna pick them. This isn't a charity, it's a business. Small indie VTubers don't need to get picked up by a large agency to be successful. Look how many huge indie VTubers there are that got huge success. Some of them got it really fast, like practically overnight, but a lot of them took like 6, 8, 10 years to grind to that previously, before VTubers existed. Because that's standard for content creation. That is very common for larger creators. Once you understand that, that will help. That will help your mentality a lot to understand that reality. Either way, it's not impossible. It's just really, 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 really hard and messy. And you need to consider whether or not that, if it's hurting you, then maybe reconsider or change something. Something's got to change. You should not be hurting yourself, period. Mentally or physically, period. To repeat myself more bluntly, I'm not remotely dissing the people who say or even joke about these things. I understand your point of view completely. I constantly feel worried for the many, many, many VTubers I see almost all the time who have this unrealistic, self-sabotatory way of thinking that I had too. I get it. And I just feel terrible for Vshojo to get dogged on for something that isn't fair to them. And they're probably one of the best, and in my opinion, maybe the best agency that I can see, the most healthiest. They have an in-house therapist. That's crazy. I don't know, like I just don't want to dog on them, and I feel like this in particular just feels really unfair and comes off as just bitter. Please consider everything I've said. Obviously for your own sake, more importantly. And please don't be mean to me about this. I really am just trying to mean well for whoever will listen and maybe change their potentially negative way of thinking. Especially as a fellow streamer and someone who went through that, and I didn't even go through it that bad, I feel, because I didn't even try that hard. Or I feel like if mine felt that bad and perturbed me that hard, it must be so much worse for so many other streamers, and that's scary and depressing. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's super corny, but just love the best parts of yourself. Never mind what you can't control.